Returning to one of our top stories, the Albanese government is yet to send additional personnel to assist Western allies in the Red Sea after vowing to triple presence in the region. Joining me is National Senator Matt Canavan. Senator, thanks for your time this morning. Foreign Minister Penny Wong flying to the Middle East, and after rejecting a US Navy request in December to send a warship to the Red Sea, the Albanese government has instead promised to triple Australian Defence personnel at the Combined Maritime Force headquarters in Bahrain from 5 to 16, but so far none of the extra personnel have arrived. How would you describe our military commitment to the Red Sea crisis?
Well, it's been lacking. It's been lacking in substance and now seemingly lacking in delivery as well. I think the Albanese government has a lot of explaining to do here. The US asked us to send a warship. Now, apparently it looks like we didn't have a warship to send, and I've not been directly critical of that. Obviously, we need to take care of our own defences and has to be subject to what assets we have available. That's a whole other issue, of course, but that's the situation we're in. But they did promise to triple these. These was triple sounds like a big word, but they did promise to send an extra 10 or so. Staff to help out, and that hasn't been delivered. I joked at the time that this would be the first time an expeditionary force would be able to fit and fly over to a conflict in business class. It would appear that they've only sent one or two, so in fact that expeditionary force could have just flew the plane and flied there. It just seems so lacking in support of our major allies. We expect the US to help us out if we ever get in a jam. I think we should be doing more to help make sure we keep this important sea route peaceful and operating.
Well, just exploring that other issue you mentioned there, Defence is looking at mothballing up to 2 more of the Navy's frontline Anzac-class frigates due to crippling crew shortages, and could have played a role in the decision not to send a ship to the Red Sea. We don't know if that's true or not, but if that is one of the reasons we didn't send a warship to the Red Sea because there's not enough crew, how does that sit with you?
Well, look, I'm not going to be partisan here because it's been a long-running issue. I don't think this is something that the Albanese or Labor government have themselves presided over. We've been failing to hit our recruiting targets for our armed forces, Navy, Air Force and Army for many, many years. And obviously now the fruits of that failure are starting to bear. Look, for what it's worth, I'm not an expert in this area, but I just don't know if our advertising and recruiting efforts really hit the mark. There seems to have been an effort in the last decade to try and sell a military career as just another type of career, a lifestyle choice, if you like, lets you do cool things and meet cool people. I just don't know if that is really going to attract the sort of people that are going to be thinking about a military career. I think we need to put more emphasis on duty, on sacrifice, on loyalty to nation and patriotism. That's what will encourage people to put their risks on the line, put their lives, on the line for their country. I don't think simply selling a military career as a almost different type of project management course is necessarily going to boost recruitment numbers.
Yeah. Opposition leader Peter Dutton called for a boycott of Woolworths for its decision not to sell Australia Day related merchandise this year, and we've seen a Woolworths vandalised in Brisbane they think is related to that decision. Independent MP Zali Steggall wrote on Twitter, Woolworths store vandalised. Peter Dutton needs to be called out for this unacceptable behaviour or be held responsible for it as he stokes division and culture wars for perceived political gain. This is what dangerous and divisive Trump-style politics encourages. Does Peter Dutton need to be held responsible for that vandalism attack in Brisbane?
Well, there's two things I'll say to this. The first direct answer is absolutely not. That's absolutely ridiculous, because if we're going to apply that standard, what about all of the climate activists that regularly break the law by holding up traffic, by vandalising buildings, by trespassing on people's homes? Are we going to hold the Teals and the likes of Zali Steggall responsible for those actions, given the scaremongering they do around climate? Now, I'm not making that allegation. I think that's absurd and ridiculous. But if that is the standard Zali is going to apply, why isn't she applying it to herself? The other thing I'd like to say on this, and a perhaps more important point, is I think it's very instructive here that the Labor Party, the Teals, some of the Greens as well, seem to be lining up with big business and big corporates here. They're desperate to defend these woke corporate giants who are clearly price gouging the Australian people. But who are their biggest defenders out there in the public sphere? It's the Labor Party and the Teals. And I just think this goes to show the change in politics we're seeing, in that if you want someone to fight for the battlers, the small businesses, the families struggling under the cost of living, you really need to look to the Liberal and National parties. We're the ones that are fighting against this big business cabal through their policies is forcing up the cost of living for everybody.
Okay, Senator Matt Canavan, thanks for your time today.